Hi there, how's everyone doing? This is Ray from Play with Ray. I'm here to talk about Atomfall. It could have been something special. It's post-apocalyptic Britain, deep survival mechanics and a historical twist. But to me it seems that it just doesn't stick the landing. In this video we'll be diving into the question to see why Atomfall doesn't hit as hard as it could have. And hey, feel free to drop me a comment to let me know what you think about this game. And having played this game, for me the biggest thing that I have an issue with is that the world feels hollow. It looks great, but it lacks life. The NPCs I talk to, they feel really static. It has a lot of survivals, but they barely react to you. You can talk to them, but the conversations to me, well, they just felt empty. And this feeling is enhanced because the world doesn't react to your actions. Every major choice I made, it didn't really matter. The world wouldn't change. If you would help a settlement or ignore it, it doesn't matter. The NPCs will carry on as usual. And all this makes the world feel very scripted and very predictable. And then we have the map. It's huge, and normally I love a big map where you can roam around, but in this case it just feels repetitive. It's like when you're entering an abandoned house, you are expecting something new, something unique every time you do that, but it's the same empty rooms and reused assets as the last 5 houses I went through. I felt there isn't a real incentive to explore. Even if I found something, it wasn't anything meaningful, so after a point I was thinking, what the hell am I doing? It all felt so pointless. And the environment, for me, it felt the same. There isn't anything you can really interact with. If you see a broken down car or anything else, you think, well, let's scavenge that, but you can't. It's just there for decoration and nothing more. And the second main thing why I think this game just won't take off is the clunky progression and survival systems. The system, it just feels shallow. I feel they should have done way more with the crafting system. It isn't as deep as it seems on the surface. Sure, I could craft items, but most of it feels just like busy work. There is no real sense of discovery and there's no real sense of advancement. And I had the same feeling when I was upgrading my equipment. It just doesn't make any impact. Sure, I could improve my gear, but the difference was barely noticeable. And another thing that just didn't land for me are the survival mechanics. They are really more annoying to me than they were immersive. In this game you have hunger and thirst which you need to tend to, and in some games that really works well, but in this game it just doesn't add to the tension. It's really nothing more than opening the menu every few minutes and take care of that. There's no real sense of urgency. And also this game grinds you down with too much micromanagement. Your inventory is really limited, so it fills up really fast and you have to drop stuff all the time. And instead of focusing on surviving, I was constantly stuck organizing my backpack. And another big thing for me why this game didn't work as expected is that the story fails to deliver on its promise. The story, it could be great, but in fact it isn't going anywhere. There is a mysterious story behind it all, but in the end it's really predictable and the build-up for me it felt a bit flat. And I talked about this a bit before, dialogue choices, they don't really matter. And that doesn't help for creating a rich and really interesting story. For me this is kind of the biggest letdown because this game has a lot of potential. When I first started playing it, I was thinking, wow, this is like the Outer Worlds or it's like Avowed. It's not just how the game presents itself, but it's also in the dialogue choices. But after playing a couple of hours, the dialogue, it really fell flat on the face. There is nothing more disappointing than having completed a side quest for an NPC who doesn't even acknowledge your help or your existence. It's also disconnected. And the same goes for the rich story, which is created by the history which is behind this game. You would expect that it would be integrated into the gameplay, but instead of that you only can find out through reading notes and audio logs. It doesn't really help to get immersed. So these are my thoughts about this game and especially why it doesn't work for me. It has potential, but it's too frustrating at this moment. Don't get me wrong, it looks cool, it has interesting ideas, but for me it just doesn't come together. It's just missing that special touch that makes a world feel alive, and in a game like this, that does really matter. Well, that's just my 2 cents. What do you think about this game? Let's talk about it in the comments. And if you like deep dives into games, then please consider subscribing to my channel. I've got more coming your way in the near future.